Hello, welcome to IS Study Circle. Today, I shall discuss on a very important topic which created a fever in the country during the time of COVID-19. I mean to say that I shall discuss on distress migration or Dadan level. Interstate temporary or seasonal migration in India is a critical economic and social phenomenon. Different NGOs and experts have estimated that 10 to 12 crore workers migrate temporarily or seasonally every year, primarily to work in agriculture, construction, textiles, brick kilns, and mining. Major source states are Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. The interstate temporary or seasonal migration has significant implications for the economy of the country and the well-being of the citizens. This can be categorized like number one, labor market dynamics. Temporary or seasonal migrants provide essential labor in sectors like agriculture, construction, textiles, brick kiln, and hospitality. This mobility ensures the availability of a flexible workforce, particularly in urban and industrial areas. Second, economic contributions. Migrant workers contribute to the GDP by enhancing productivity in labor, in intensive sectors mostly. They also support the rural economies through remittances back to their native places. Thirdly, regional disparities. Migration highlights stark inequalities between regions, with resource-rich but underdeveloped states acting as sources of labor and economically developed states being the destinations. Next, fourth, urbanization and informal economy. Migration fuels urban growth, but also it leads to the expansions of informal settlements and unregulated markets. Importance of analyzing its different aspects. Number one, in the context of policy formulation, understanding migration patterns would help design policies for labor welfare, social security, housing, and skill development. Number two, infrastructure. The planning of infrastructure can be very well undertaken on the basis of accurate data on migration. That would help in urban planning to address the problems of overcrowding, shortages of house, and the required public services in destination areas. Number third, social equity. Analyzing migration sheds light on socio-economic disparities, fostering targeted interventions for inclusive development. Number four, impact on families. Migration affects the socio-psychological well-being of the families who are left behind. Especially, I mean the women, children, and the elderly. Analysis can help mitigate the negative impacts. Every year, lakhs of people from different parts of Odisha temporarily migrate to different states of India for their sustenance and livelihood. They work as casual laborers in construction, manufacturing, agriculture, brick kilns, hotels, and eateries, etc. Also, they become engaged in different cities in rickshaw pulling or as domestic helpers, or they work as drivers and assistants in different shops. The Labor Directorate of Odisha has identified 14 migration prone districts in our state of Odisha. Those districts are Balangir, Bargarh, Kalahandi, Nuapada, Subarnapur, Sundargarh, Khurdha, Kendrapada, Puri, Ganjam, Gajapati, Raigada, Koraput, and Nabrangpur. However, the nature and characteristics of migration from different districts to different areas are different in nature. Out of the 14 districts, 8 districts like Kalahandi, Balangir, Nuapada, Nabrangpur, Subarnapur, Raigada, Malkangiri, and Koraput comes under the KBK region, which is one of the most underdeveloped and poverty-ridden regions, which is well known for distressed migration, that is for Dadan. The concentration of distressed migration, Dadan, is more in Balangir, Nuapada, Kalahandi districts. Now, we shall concentrate upon these 3 districts to discuss about the Dadan labor in particular and from the Western Odisha in general. Here, in the case study that we have undertaken, in the field study that we have undertaken, I must say here and thankful to Dr. Saida Banu, who had assisted and helped me in preparing this script of Dadan in the particular area of Balangir Nuapada, where she has undertaken a very extensive research study on Dadan labor. Now, let's come back to the topic that in 2023, by giving his opinion to the New Indian Express, the ex-labor minister Sarada Prasad Naik of Biju Janata Dal government, at that time it was there, admitted that highest number of laborers migrated from Balangir district, followed by Nuapada district. But the data provided by the then minister from the official sources is a gross underestimation. The study of our team conducted in that area reveals that only from Balangir district, 3 lakh workers migrate in every season. Our team has undertaken the study to understand the aspects and problems of distressed migration from different parts of Western Odisha, mostly in Balangir and Nuapada districts. most of the time, let me clarify a misunderstanding, a misconception that most of the time people confuse regarding the real meaning of Dadan. And most of them think that any poor person going outside the state for work is a Dadan labor. But it is a sheer misconception and a clear misunderstanding of the meaning of Dadan. The Orissa Dadan Labor Control and Regulation Act 1975 defines Dadan labor as a person recruited based on a contract, either express or implied, from the state of Odisha for doing any skilled, semi-skilled or unskilled manual work outside the state. In Odisha, Dadan labor is recruited from various parts of the state through contractors or agents. They are called sardars or khatadars, who act as the mediator between the laborers on one side and the employers on the other. The agent, that is sardar or khatadar that I told, is a person who recruits Dadan labor on behalf of the employer, who is sitting at the destination for any work to be carried out at that place. Mostly it takes place during the lean period. Many poor, especially socially disadvantaged groups from Western Orissa migrate to work in different states of India. These workers engaged in construction activities, brick kiln, casual labor, domestic helpers, rickshaw pullers, etc. Of these, most of them are engaged in brick kiln. Most of them are engaged in brick kiln in the southern Indian states. That too, mostly in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. This migration is seasonal in nature, and most important is that this is a family migration. They migrate with their family. Migration to brick kiln, especially, I emphasize, migration to work in brick kiln is Dadan. The socio-economic conditions of these migrants at the origin will help us understanding that why they migrate to the outside state for their livelihood. People belonging to lower socio-economic strata, that is poor, landless, marginal farmers, and illiterates, mostly from SC/ST communities, constitute the major churn of Dadan laborers. It is found from our survey that about 70 to 80% of these migrants are from SCs and STs, and none of them belong to any upper social strata, that is general caste, in the origin. What is their source of livelihood? Mostly they depend upon agriculture. The landless laborers work as agricultural labor. Earning options from agriculture is not adequate for their survival throughout the year, because because the productivity in agriculture is very, very low. This poor productivity in agriculture is due to lack of irrigation facilities, frequent drought, and small land holdings. It is found from our survey that around 70% of these migrants are landless and the rest are either marginal or small landholders. The availability of non-farm casual unemployment, the availability of non-farm casual employment is very negligible in these places. Hardly they get only 30 to 40 days of casual employment from both farm as well as non-farm sectors during the agricultural season. The situation becomes worse during off-season. During off-season, it even becomes difficult to get 20 days of casual employment. So, earning from agriculture and wage employment is so inadequate that it cannot provide support for their survival throughout the year. Approximately 65% of the families have reported that it is difficult to earn a meager 3,000 rupees per month. For that, they need to borrow money even to meet the day-to-day expenses. Here the question occurs that what is the role of the government then? What are the government programs for them to provide employment opportunities or to earn a minimum amount for their survival? We can speak about Narega, but in Narega, people don't get even 30 days of employment in most of the seasons. And in Narega, most of the work what our study has found under Narega, most of the work has been done by machine, employing machine. Further, it is reported by the workers in the field that they get some days of work under Narega, the payment is delayed. They didn't even receive their wages for up to 4 to 6 months. Some of them reported that they didn't receive a single penny for their work. These are the root causes of the failure of Narega program. The negligible income from agriculture, recurrent natural disasters, inadequate farm and non-farm livelihood opportunities, debt burden, and failure of government programs at the origin are the factors which force these laborers to migrate for their survival. These factors are push factors which push them out of their native places to find out subsistence and livelihood outside the state. The laborers who are mostly illiterate, they don't have the information of the destination. Thus, what they do? They depend upon the sardars, that is the intermediaries, who have the information regarding the employers at the destination. Sardars used to give them in advance a bulk amount of money Sometimes it is 30,000 to 40,000, which is a dream amount for the socially economic disadvantaged class, the poor marginalized class. That is, Sardar gives them the advance and ties them with their families, not only one person, but the whole family is tied in an implicit contract to work in the brick kiln for the next 7 to 8 months. As they have taken the advance, now they become almost bonded laborers. At the time of recruitment, the Sardars promise that wages would be calculated in a piece rate basis and it would be settled in each month. But usually, this promise is never kept. Once the worker, the poor worker, comes into the clutches of the contractor, he takes them to a far off place on payment of only railway fare with a minimum pocket expenses. They are being transported like animals to the destination in a very subhuman manner. After reaching the destination, they work and live in hazardous and unhygienic conditions. They do not receive even the minimum wage. No distinct and clear working hours are fixed. They work even sometimes for 15 to 16 hours a day. And they have to work on all the days in a week under extremely worst working conditions. Even the children also work at the destination without getting an advance or wage. They live on the side in huts made of plastics and broken bricks and do not have access to minimum civic amenities, that is, minimum amenities like safe drinking water or toilet facilities. The informality of work and bondage of labor lead to exploitation, violation of labor laws and rights, human rights, and child rights violation. Labor laws are violated as they work for a very long period and even at odd hours they have to work. They do not get the minimum wages, even not paid for overtime, and are deceived by the sardars and employers during wage calculation and settlement of advances. They are not provided the minimum living conditions for a human being. Child rights are frequently violated as the migrant children work in the field and deprived of the right to education. They are deprived of safe environment too. These migrants also face verbal, physical, and sexual abuse by the sardars and employers during their journey and at the destination places. To protect this migrant from exploitation, government has framed a number of laws and policies like Dadan Act, the Interstate Migration Workmen Act 1979, which details how sardars should recruit the laborers for migration. The provisions are sardars must register himself for sending laborers to other places, to other states for work, and he has to register it in the district labor office. After that, he must get a license for the same from the district labor officer. The sardar needs to provide the details of the employer at the destination, the details of the place of work, nature of work, amount of advance, duration of work, and number of workers sending in the to the labor office. This information must be provided according to the rule by the sardar to the labor office. Further, Sardar needs to do all the official work to register the worker as a migrant worker in the district labor office. But in practice, these procedures are hardly followed. As a result, the official data on migration gives an underestimated data. The result comes out to be the poor migrants face severe exploitation by the Sardar as well as by employers. Violations of different rights and the poor and long working and living conditions at the destination are negatively affecting the health of the migrants. They suffer from occupational health hazards such as lung infections, skin infections, severe body aches, etc. Further, it is adversely affecting the education of the migrated children. Thus, thereby, this Dadan migration is helping these laborers to escape starvation and survival. That's okay, but it is in no way improving their standard of living or their socio-economic conditions. We shall continue this in the next part. Thank you.